What is up, you guys? I got a quick video for you today. As you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about the 5 habits that have proactively helped me spend less. So let's just get right into this. The first one is going to be the 24-hour rule for purchases. Now, you can adjust this rule a little bit, but in general, the way this rule works and sort of this habit works is anytime you want to buy something above a certain amount of money, whether that's $50, $100, $250, anytime you want to make a purchase that some might consider significant, and again, that can vary depending on who you are, what your income is, but anything that's not just an ordinary expense, you want to give yourself at least 24 hours to think on that, to contemplate and decide if that is something that you legitimately need. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about, grabbing a bite to eat somewhere. Now, I don't eat out that much. I do like to treat myself and my girl every once in a while, but we're really not big on eating out just because it's expensive, and it's healthier to eat at home for what it's worth. But in general, I'm not really talking about that kind of stuff. What I'm talking about is like a bigger purchase, like maybe $150 pair of shoes that you want, or maybe you're looking to buy yourself a new phone, or I don't know. If you're into cars, maybe you were looking at getting a new stereo or new, aftermarket tires, whatever it is, whatever your thing is, whatever your interests are, something that is a purchase that's not an ordinary purchase and it's above a certain amount of money, give yourself at least 24 hours to purchase that. Think about it. Even if you're at the store, you see it and you absolutely love it, give yourself 24 hours. Most likely it's going to be there the next day. And to play it even safer, you can extend this rule out a bit too. You can give yourself like 48 hours or even a week for bigger purchases. It'll definitely filter out the bad purchases that happen when you're just in the mood to spend, or maybe you see something you like. So definitely give yourself some time to think about it and make sure it's something that you absolutely need. Moving on to number 2, and this kind of piggybacks on the last one, is going to be differentiating wants versus needs. The simplest and best way to do this is to create a budget. You need to just sit down, take an hour or two, write down everything you absolutely need in order to survive on a monthly basis. Mine's pretty simple. I could probably do it off the top of my head, actually. It's rent, utilities, food, gas, haircuts, groceries, the simple stuff, the stuff that you absolutely need, right? Those are your needs. And you need to have a budget and have an idea of what it's going to cost to take care of those needs. Anything outside of that is considered a want. And it's okay to have wants and to buy things that you want, especially if you've gotten to a point where, you have little to no debt. Maybe you have some money set aside. Maybe you have a fully funded emergency fund. You should treat yourself. You should be able to buy things that you want. But it's important to identify a need versus a want, and then only spend the amount of money you can afford to spend on those wants. And again, there's a lot of factors that come into this: your income, your minimum monthly expenses, how much debt you have. There's a lot of factors to it, but understanding what needs and wants are and sticking to a budget when it comes to those, it really helped me spend less and save more. So that's something else that I would definitely recommend doing. Number 3 is going to be tracking savings goals. So I've made videos about this in the past. Back when I was living with my parents, I really had like no expenses whatsoever. So really all I would do is just transfer a bunch of money from my paycheck into savings and investments, and then kind of just spend whatever was left over. I was probably saving anywhere from 80 to 90% of my income, so there was no problem there. But one thing I wasn't really doing was, let me rephrase that. One thing that I wasn't doing then that I am doing now is working with savings goals, right? I have a couple of things that I am saving towards rather recently that I've implemented this year in 2026. One of them, I want to buy myself a new phone at the end of the year. So I've started putting some money aside every single month. I put it into a separate fund to be able to save for that phone. I still have the 12 Pro. So we're going back like 5 or 6 models at this point. And honestly, it's really not that bad of a phone. Like it still works, but I do feel like it's starting to slow down. And I can afford it at the end of the day. Like I haven't gotten a new phone in 5 or 6 years. So I'm just going to go ahead and treat myself to one at the end of the year here. Another goal I've been working towards is vacations. I've never really been a big vacation guy. It's just not something that we really did when I was younger as much. We would go on vacations in the summer and stuff like that, but it was never like pretty significant travel per se. And now that I traveled earlier this year and went to Ireland, I had one of the best weeks of my life, and I want to be more intentional about about traveling. So now I'm being more intentional about saving to travel. And the thing that this does is when I feel like spending my money on something that I really don't need, I think to myself, don't forget about the money you're putting aside every month to go ahead and enjoy when you travel. Or don't forget about that little bit of money you're putting aside every month to buy yourself that new phone at the end of the year. So when I think about that, it allows me to delay the gratification and tell myself, all right, maybe I don't need this new pair of shoes, or maybe I don't need this new hat. I just want it. And oftentimes it's just because I feel like getting myself something new. I'm pretty good about my money, but sometimes I even catch myself wanting to spend money just because maybe I'm bored or whatever the case may be. So that would be the number 3 thing on my list as far as like what's helped me spend less recently is tracking my savings goals. And it's a weird one. You wouldn't think of it, but for some reason, the fact that I'm saving for bigger purchases towards the end of the year, it allows me to spend less now because I'm looking forward to that delayed gratification. Number 4 is going to be spending intentionally. Now, a lot of these are related, but they are different in a sense. And I think the perfect example of spending intentionally is when it comes to my grocery shopping. I'm not afraid to spend a little bit more money on higher quality foods or even on bulk foods because it's better for my health. And in the long run, it's going to save me money. So I'll often go to wholesale stores and spend $200-300 on groceries and not really bat an eye on it because I know it's better for my health. I'm going to end up spending more if I go out to eat and don't purchase stuff at the grocery store than if I just take a day, grocery shop, make a list, get my stuff, get my high quality, healthy foods, and just stick to that. So there's a number of examples that I could use for this. I'm not going to go too deep into it. That's not the purpose of this whole video, but that is one really good example I can think of when I say spending intentionally is like, value the things that are most important, right? At the end of the day, life is short, but you want to spend money on things that provide value to you. So spending a little extra maybe on food or setting money aside to be able to travel, like that is intentional spending. It's bringing value and providing value to your life. And that's something that I've started to do more of. And in the long run, I feel like it helps me spend less on unnecessary bullshit just because, again, I know I spent hundreds of dollars on high quality food this month. I don't want to waste it, so I'm not going to go ahead out and eat some shitty food that's going to make me feel gross anyway. So I don't know. That's just how my mind works with that. So let's move on to the 5th and final thing on my list, and that's going to be finding free alternatives. This one is huge, and as the weather gets nicer, I'm really big on outdoor hobbies, right? I enjoy riding my bike. I even enjoy just working out outside versus in the gym. I enjoy fishing, even just going for a walk. Like there's plenty of things that you can do outside that are free, and it's going to really help you spend less money. Like I know plenty of people who, when they hang out with their friends, it's almost a definite that they're going to end up spending some money. And then myself and even some of my really close friends, we have no problem just going fishing, or me and my girl will just go for a bike ride. Like go for a hike. There's a lot of alternatives that are free. And oftentimes I think people are just bored and they want to hang out with their friends because they're bored and they feel obligated to spend money because they normally costs money to do things. But you just got to find things that are free to do that you enjoy, that provide, happiness, and you enjoy your time, and that's a great way to help you spend less money as well. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. If you're new here, I post every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, I post all kinds of content about personal finance, life experiences, really anything I feel like talking about. I just throw it over some gameplay for you guys. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.